And you're joining us today for From Boss Lady to God's Lady, unlocking purpose, leadership, confidence, and global impact. So I'm going to jump right in and share a little bit with you. Who am I? I am the elevation coach. All I do is help persons with purpose clarity, confidence, leading with confidence, and being able to build impactful global brands. So I am a certified professional purpose coach. I also, my profession is business development and marketing. And with that experience or with that profession, I'll be able to mesh the strategic planning, the marketing, the branding with being able to, as I help you build your or clarify your purpose, I then help you build your own personal brand, your own personal strategic marketing plan so that you can execute what God has placed in you with confidence, with boldness, and of course, touching the lives, impacting the lives that have been assigned to you before the beginning of time. So in a nutshell, I do purpose clarity, leadership with confidence, or purpose leadership, and I help you build your global brands, making an impact around the world. So again, if you haven't downloaded this Boss Lady to God's Lady, from Boss Lady to God's Lady blueprint, it is an amazing, amazing, amazing tool. And inside there's also a free toolkit so you get access to other downloadable resources. I want you to go ahead. If you are on your computer, you don't have this downloaded, you can scan it right here, or simply go to bit.ly/boss lady to God's lady. Again, that's going to be dropped in the chat. If you are ready, have your blueprint, just type yes in the chat box and we will get going. So I'm assuming you're downloading still. But let's go. Many female CEOs and professionals and entrepreneurs are saying today that they don't feel fulfilled despite the outward success that they have achieved or that others can see. So the reality of successful women is this. As Tony Robbins says, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And of course, you can do so much, you can achieve so much, and still at the end of the day, you're saying to yourself when you're home at night, you're alone, you're saying, God, am I really doing all that I'm supposed to do? Am I really satisfying you? If I was to leave this earth today, can you say to me, well done, thou good and faithful servant, have I accomplished every single thing that I was created to accomplish? So success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Yes, you may be doing well. Yes, you might be achieving a lot. But as long as there is no fulfillment, you know that something is wrong. So here are some stats. 70% of female executives, according to the Harvard Business Review, feel like they're just going through the motions. Do you feel as if you're just going through the motions? And then Gallup says 42% of successful women experience high stress and burnout. So they experience this high stress and this burnout, they're achieving so much more, but at the end of the day, they're physically, emotionally, mentally, and physically burning out. Does it make sense? If it doesn't make sense to be burning out, does it make sense to be doing something and achieving so much, and at the end of the day, you're burning out? 60% of professional women, according to the Deloitte study, 60% of professional women consider leaving their career due to lack of purpose. So we know we can be in any position. We can be in any position. And if we feel like there's something missing, like if there's something going wrong, like we don't have purpose, then it affects us mentally, it affects us emotionally, and then it affects us physically, spiritually as well. So when we talk about fulfillment for the faith-driven woman in business, what is fulfillment? What is fulfillment? So Jim Rohn, who is a self-help author, motivational speaker, and so on, he says success is hitting the goal. Fulfillment is knowing you hit the right goal. So you could be hitting a goal. This goal could be set by anybody. This could be set by your parents, or this is what I want you to achieve. This is what I want you to become. This is what I want you to do. Even yourself, you might have these ideas of what you should be doing, who you should become. And at the end of the day, it's your idea, but is it God's idea. So success is hitting the goal, but fulfillment in what you're doing is knowing you hit the right goal. So have you reached a milestone and you're still feeling like something is missing? The KPMG Women's Leadership Study, it says that after I made my first six figures, this is a lady, she's saying, after I made my first six figures, I celebrated, but I couldn't shake the question, is this it? That's when I realized I had success, but not fulfillment. So have you ever reached that milestone? Have you ever reached that milestone and you felt again like something is missing? And I want you right now to put in the chat, what does fulfillment look like for you? I want you to put that in the chat for me. What does fulfillment look like for you? And this is going to be an interactive section. Fulfillment is more than just achievement. What is fulfillment? It is alignment. When your business honors your values and calling, when what you're doing as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a faith-driven or any woman, as an executive, as a professional, what you're doing, it really honors your value and your calling. So that makes you feel fulfilled when you're aligned. But I want you to tell me what fulfillment means for you. And of course, impact, when you feel that knowing your work transforms lives, there is a joy, there is a peace, there is a laughter, there is a hope for the next move that comes when you know that your work, it is transforming lives and not just making profits. I don't know if any of you can agree with me, but there's so much where there's this joy, there's this feeling of accomplishment, there's this feeling of I'm in my right position. It's like I can keep doing this. I love doing this because I know that what I do is transforming lives, it's impacting lives, and it's not just making a profit. Money is important. Money answers everything. But what's important is how you feel at the end of the day, knowing that you're impacting lives and bringing about change. Of course, wholeness. You don't have to fragment your faith, your femininity, your leadership. You feel whole in the midst of it. What does fulfillment mean for you? You don't feel as if I have to separate my life from this. I have to separate who I am from my business. I have to be a different person. But you feel as there's this holistic aspect to you, and you can be everything that you've been called to be. And of course, last but surely not least, when we talk about fulfillment, we as women, we as business owners, entrepreneurs, professionals, we are looking for that peace. You no longer chase validation, but you walk in divine approval. You walk in your creator's approval. So are you fulfilled today? Can you say that you're living in a fulfilled life? You feel fulfilled in the position that you're in. You feel aligned. You know that you're impacting lives. You feel a wholeness in your life where you don't have to fragment any aspect of your life. And you are feeling at peace, knowing that you no longer have to chase after the validation of the money, the validation of the high position, the validation of others, but you're walking in an approval, your divine approval, knowing that I've been created for this. I've been made for this. I've been fashioned for this. I've been appointed. I've been ordained for this. So 92% of women say meaningful work is more important than high pay. Do you agree with that? Do you agree that meaningful work is more important than high pay? I want you to tell me that today. Nobody's sharing if they're fulfilled, what they feel as fulfillment, but I want you to continue to chat. Somebody says fulfillment for me is impact and peace. I love that. And I see that my name is there. So you can, of course, go ahead and change your name. So change the name so that I can see exactly who you are. Because if you're joining from the link from the email, it will show up. It does like that. Not sure why. It'll show up with my name. So you can go ahead and change your name. But this person is saying fulfillment for me is impact and peace. I love that. So let's move right on. Wonderful. I hope you're getting excited because we want fulfillment. We want purpose, and it's time to change. It's time for change for us professional women, because we as women are no longer satisfied with empty wins or titles without meaning. We want to know that what we're building matters in eternity, not just the marketplace. If you are in agreement to that, with that, I want you to put up an emoji, put up the heart emoji for me. If you are in agreement with this, can you identify? I am stirring you up today. Have you ever asked yourself, what am I doing all of this for? Fulfillment says, fulfillment for me is using my works to impact and enable my surroundings. So can you identify? Women are no longer satisfied with the empty wins. We are no longer satisfied with the titles without meaning. We want to know that what we're building matters in eternity, not just the marketplace, but it matters in eternity. Purpose isn't a luxury, it's a necessity for a sustainable or for sustainable success. So many successful women I coach, they say to me, I have all these goals that I've achieved, but I still feel stuck. A lot of my clients say to me, I feel confused. There is no clarity. I know there is so much inside of me, but I don't know how to package it. I don't know how to put it in place. That they weren't created just to perform, but we were created to fulfill purpose. A lot of my clients, they say, I want to fulfill purpose. I know there's more to me. I have clients that are accountants. They're high levels, doing tax for all sorts, tax accounting for all sorts of jurisdictions around the world. And they're saying to me, lawyers are saying to me, I have accomplished this ABC, but I am not fulfilled. There is more. I know I'm called to do this. I know I'm called to do that, but there is more and I need help. A businesswoman anchored in purpose, she is unshakable even in storms. She is unshakable even in storms. Purpose gives clarity in decision making, confidence in leadership, peace in execution. So we as women, today we are marching, today we are stepping, today we are declaring it is time for change because we want fulfillment, and we just don't want fulfillment, we want purpose. If you agree with me, come on, light up the chat. Studies show that when women leaders connect their business, connect what they're doing to a deeper why, their engagement, their productivity, and their mental wellness increase. So we're moving right on. This is why we must redefine who we are, not just as boss ladies, but as women with divine intention. So let me show you the difference. Let's talk about the two paths today: boss lady versus God's lady. So which side are you on? There is a sound. Which side are you leaning on? Which side are you leaning on today? Are you on the boss lady side or are you on the God's lady side? I want you to tell me that in the chat. Are you on the boss lady side or are you on the God's lady side? And we're going to talk about each of them right now. So which side do you find yourself on today? So what exactly is a boss lady? And we're talking about the world's view. She's confident. She is powerful. She is financially successful. She runs businesses. She leads teams. And she is seen as having it all, yet often feeling empty. So she's accomplished much, but she sees and says that I'm feeling a little bit empty over here. Nothing is wrong with being confident. Nothing is wrong with being powerful. Nothing is wrong with being financially successful, because being a boss lady is a good thing. But we're talking about, how do you really feel with just running your business, leading teams, but you're still asking yourself and saying, I feel empty. What is God's lady? God's lady is simply this. She knows she's been created for something great. She knows she's been created, of course. She knows why she's been created. So she understands her why. She leads with faith and divine strategy. So she's at the top of the ladder. She's doing great things. She's accomplished. She has some titles behind her. She has some certificates, some accomplishments in the university and so on. But she leads with faith and divine strategy, and she builds her life on God's plan, not just ambition. So she's not stuck in a place where she's just working and just doing the bare minimum, but she's running with purpose. She's running with her divine strategy, and she's dependent on God's plan to lead those people, to execute the job that she's been given, to lead those tasks with confidence and to lead them with integrity behind her. So let's move right on to the next slide. And if you go to if you have your boss lady blueprint, maybe you have it on your phone, on your laptop, that's fine. But I'm going to be sharing here on the screen, but you can refer to pages 4 and 6, where we say, despite their achievements, a sense of unfulfillment and internal emptiness persists, leaving a gaping hole of uncertainty at night. So this isn't just a passing thought. What is happening with us as women is not just a passing thought. We want to move from boss lady to God's lady, where it leads us forward to do great things. So if you look at pages 4 to 6, I'm not preaching today, so it's not verse or chapter. Pages 4 to 6, a boss lady isn't necessarily inherently wrong. She's smart, she's driven, and she makes powerful moves. So it isn't that it's bad or God's lady, it's better, but too often she's operating under pressure and not peace. Pressure will come, but there's this pressure that comes upon the women that call themselves these boss ladies, who don't walk in the full purpose that they've been created for. And there's such a pressure that they operate under in every aspect and everything that they're doing, because there's a goal. And not just a goal, there's somebody that they want validation from. There's somebody that they want to hear, oh, you've done well. But we want to reposition our minds today. The God's lady, it isn't that she's less ambitious, but she's just aligned. She's just aligned with her purpose. She's just aligned with her divine calling. She just understands everything about herself, so that she's leaving nothing behind, and that she's a whole woman, leading according to everything and doing every single thing, executing every single thing in the season that she's in, that she's actually created to do. So many high achieving women spend thousands chasing after freedom, designer bags, luxury vacations. And this is not saying that you, if you're a God's lady, you can't go after these things and the power titles, but a reality is chasing purpose, clarity, fulfillment is greater than all these other things that are so glamorous and so beautiful. Because as we chase after purpose, we will achieve these physical things. We will have the money. We will be able to do some great things with what we have. So thank you so much. God lady, Tolu is saying, God's lady always. Mercy is saying, God's lady always. Evie is saying, God's lady all day. We are indeed God's lady. If you're a boss lady on the line, tell me I'm a boss lady and I'm ready to move to being God's lady. So I want you to ask yourself this question, and I'm going to put a poll at this time. I want you to ask yourself this question. Have you ever looked at your achievements and still thought, there's got to be more? Have you ever thought this? There's got to be more. So I want you to answer that poll for me. Let's see. Sorry, that's the wrong poll. Sorry. Okay, let's put it up again. Yes. So I want your view on your achievements. Have you ever looked at your achievements and still thought, there's got to be more? 4 persons, 5 persons, there's got to be more. If everybody's saying yes, you are in the right place. You're in this presentation, you are in the right place. So have you ever thought, there's got to be more? Okay. We're going to end now. Wonderful. We have 9 persons out of our 13 saying yes, that's me. So let's move on to the next slide. What if more isn't out there? What if it's in here in this session? What if more is actually in you, waiting to be unlocked? So what if more is actually in here, in the heart? What if more is actually here? So what if more is actually here? So what's missing? It's not hustle. What's missing? It's fulfillment. So for the fulfillment dilemma is that what top women leaders say about success. They say, I've climbed the corporate ladder, but at the top, I felt alone. I built a multi-million-dollar brand, yet something is still missing. 92% of women, they say impact matters more than income. 68% feel disconnected from their life purpose, as we said before. So how have you ever felt this way? We said, yes, you felt this way. So let's jump into this next site. I'm going to share a little bit about my impact story and my move from what I would consider my journey towards becoming a boss lady, and then my journey to becoming God's lady. So I started my story. You could just sit back and relax. It's not a long story, but you can sit back and relax. So my story started as in the place of child loss. So I decided I had these plans for my life. And I said, at the age of 30, I want to have 2 children. I want to be married. I want to have my own home. I want to have my doctorate. I want to have this. I want to have that at the age of 30. So I had all my plans. I was doing quite well. I had accomplished my master's before then. I was working as a marketing officer at the biggest at that time conference center in this Caribbean region. I was doing quite well. I was doing jobs on the side, freelance jobs. At the time, it was called elance.com. I think it has changed the name now to, I can't remember what the name is, but they changed it over time. And I was getting so many opportunities to work for major brands in the USA, around the world. But I had these goals and I was pursuing the top and I was reaching the top and I was going for the top because for me, it meant something. It meant that this is what I was supposed to do. This is who I was supposed to be. You know, I've never seen it in my family. And we are always taught from young, get your degree, get a job, get married, get your own home, get some children. And that is accomplishment. That's fulfillment. Of course, I can say I was feeling fulfilled, but this is what happened in the midst of that. I wasn't given a chance at that moment to feel unfulfilled. My story's a little bit different, but I moved from being that what I thought was the mirror of success or the view of success into becoming God's lady because of child loss. So I was pregnant, expecting this child and doing so much and so happy. And in the midst of that, at 5 months, a little bit over 5 months, I heard these words from the doctor, your baby has no heartbeat. And that crashed my life. It totally brought me down to a place of lack of hope, despair. I mean, I was going through so much pain, so much anxiety, so much of everything, so much fear of not living, of dying in my sleep because the anxiety was so horrible. And through the process, I found God. In that process, I learned to pray. I learned to seek after God. But I remember saying to him, my life cannot just be all that I've achieved. My life cannot just be this pain and this anxiety. My life cannot just be depression. My life cannot just be this. There has to be more. And from that moment, God began to open my eyes, and the words of my grandmother came immediately into my mind that we do not go through things for just going through them. There is a purpose behind everything we go through. And with those words, I began to seek out the purpose behind this pain. And not only behind the pain, but the purpose for which I was created. And being able to seek that out, I was developed then into a minister of the gospel. I was developed then into a speaker. I was developed then into a preacher. I was developed into an author. I was developed then into a speaker. All these things developed in me. I became that God lady out of the pain that I was going through. And then I was able to take my experience and my academic learning, my professional experience as a marketer, and today I'm able to mesh that with the purpose coaching aspect of who I am. Again, to help persons birth all the great things that have been placed inside of them before the beginning of time, to establish purpose and to become impactors and transformers in the world, taking lives to new levels every single time. So that's a little bit about my impact story. So my question to you is, what have you experienced? What have you been through? What is it that you have taken in? What is it that is in you that you still not haven't realized and you still haven't used to become the greatest version of yourself and become that true God lady, that fulfilled woman that you've been created to be. But here's the thing, there are some challenges that we experience, and we're going to go back to talking about purpose. But before we get there are some challenges that high achieving women experience. And these things that keep them from moving out of the place of unfulfillment, or these things that hold them back from going to become the God lady that they've been created to be, is that, of course, they feel stuck despite success. They lack clarity. There's a lot of confidence struggles. There's a lot of confidence struggles. There's a lot of work-life balance issues. There's a lot of struggles to building global impact. And there's a lot of fear about leaving an impact, about leaving this legacy behind. So I want to ask you, which one or which of these do you really identify with? So the poll is on the screen. Which one of these? What are the challenges that you are experiencing as a high-achieving woman, as a woman seeking after success? What are some of these things that are holding you back? So one person, they're saying feeling stuck, confidence struggles, struggle to build global impact. All these things are holding you back from becoming the greatest version of yourself. And I'm going to show you how you can begin to overcome all of these things to become this fulfilled woman who can say, I'm not just a boss lady, but I've moved from just being a boss lady to being this woman that's God's lady. So I'm still waiting on some of you. There are 14 of you here. I want all of you to answer. Most of you are saying you're feeling stuck, work-life balance issues, struggling to build that global impact. Okay, and somebody has a bit of fear in terms of leaving that lasting legacy. If there's one thing before I move on that I can tell you, is that today is the day that you have to be able to open your mouth when you start to identify some things about yourself. Today is that day that you need to open your mouth and say, I've been created for this. I want you to type it in the chat. Whatever God has created me for, I've been created for this. If every day you can open your mouth and you can say, and look in the mirror, I've been created for this, there is a confidence that will be built in your life. There is a boldness that will be built in your life, and you will execute with such a speed and a boldness that you've never executed before. So I'm going to end it here. I'm going to share the results with you. Only 9 of you responded. I'm not sure where the other 5 are, but we're feeling stuck. Most of you said work-life balance issues, as well as struggling to build that global impact. One person indicated fear is an issue, feeling stuck, lack of clarity. So we know we're in the right place because I have some solutions to all of these issues that we are dealing with right now. And I'm over to the chat. Somebody's saying, I'm created for this. You can go ahead and change the name so that I can see who you are. It's showing as my name. Go ahead and change your name so I can see who you are. So now let's start with the overcoming. Let's start overcoming one step at a time. Let's start overcoming. The first step that you're going to take is breaking free from feeling stuck. So you're going to discover the truth that sets you free. You were never meant to figure it out alone. So if you're on this journey and you're thinking about this fulfillment thing, I got to do this on my own. No, there are coaches like me. There are coaches like others that might be on the line. If you're a purpose coach, if you're a life coach, I want you to share that on the screen as well. Thank you so much for your comments, guys. I want you to share that comment in the comment box as well. If you're a coach, go ahead and share your LinkedIn, your social media links as well. Let's just get connecting as well. But you were meant for more. You were never meant to figure it out alone. So none of us are meant to do this alone. We can come to these sessions. We can work with coaches to figure it out. Stuck is often a sign of misalignment, not failure. So you've not failed. You have not failed. You're just now entering a new season where you are going to be stepping into the fullness of your purpose to become the great woman that you've been created to be. And fear, it is more than faith. It is greater than fear. You have to move now, or we are moving from by trusting and not just knowing. We know that we've been called for more, but we are trusting God that we are created for more. We are trusting him that he's going to give us, we're having faith that he's going to give us the strategy today, or he's going to open up our eyes and open up our spirits to some new ideas and to some new revelations about ourselves. We're not just knowing this about this thing, but we are trusting at a new level today. So we're breaking free from feeling unstuck, and we're discovering this truth. So what keeps us stuck? The fear of failure, the imposter syndrome. We ourselves are our own failures at times, not believing in ourselves, not believing that this global impact that is inside of us, that we can actually impact the world with it. Cultural pressures, have it all together. Culture tells you must have it all together. Parents tell you must do this profession. I want you to be a doctor. I want you to be a lawyer. I want you to be a nurse. I want you to be a dentist. Is that what God created you for? Even if it's what God has created you for, are you still walking in the vision of your parents, in the vision of your bloodline, or are you walking in the vision of God? And is it this imposter syndrome because you're so fixed on the vision of your bloodline? You're not seeing that you're impacting your own life. You're not seeing that you yourself, because of that, your thoughts are in cage, your thoughts are in prison, and you're not able to step out and do the great things that you've been created to do. So there's fear of failure. Even if you fail, so what? Even if you fail, so what? There is failure in the scriptures. There's failure in some stories from great women, great men around the world, from every religion that there is. There's great men, great women, but they still stepped forward. They still kept going. And this is what you're going to do today. So let's get unstuck with faith to action. I want you, faith in action. So I want you to write down one belief that keeps you stuck right now. Some people say, I'm not ready. I'm not enough. I'll mess it up. Can I really become an author? Would anybody listen to me? Would anybody read my story? So I want you to write down one belief that keeps you stuck right now. And you, of course, you can share that on, if you want to put it in the comment, you can, that's fine. Thank you so much, guys. Somebody here is a marriage coach. I love that. That's Tolu. We have Dr. Amaka. She's a professional development and personal branding coach. Wonderful. So wonderful. We have people on here that can help each other. But I want you to write down one belief that keeps you stuck right now. And this could be one lie that has been released on your journey. And as you go through your blueprint, one of those, there is a worksheet you will get access to in the blueprint, that it is limiting beliefs worksheet. That limiting beliefs worksheet that you will get access to by scanning the code at the end. That limiting belief worksheet, yes, it takes you through the process of reframing those limited beliefs and taking the scripture and replacing that belief with a scripture so that you can reframe that belief. So one belief here, somebody is saying, I'm not ready. I am a city on a hill, cannot be hidden. Somebody's given me the positive. I'm not ready sometimes come up for me from time to time. Procrastination. Somebody's saying procrastination. So why do we say often that we are not ready? And I want you to dig deep into your own spirit. I want you to really assess this specific belief that you've shared today. I want you to ask God, why is it that I'm still procrastinating? Is it something that has been said to me by maybe a spouse, maybe something that has been said to me by a person, by a parent? I want you to think about why this thing is still happening in your life today, and then being able to determine with scripture, how am I going to combat this one negative belief, and what steps am I going to take to overcome this so that I can move from just saying, I am not ready, I'm going to fail. Maybe nobody's going to listen. I can't get it done. Moving from that place to actually saying, I am ready for this. I have what it takes. Remember, we said, I've been created for this. Sometimes somebody says, I feel inadequate. Why is it that you feel inadequate? Sometimes there are persons on your journey, because there might be a teacher that might have said something to you, a teacher that might have said, oh, you will never become this, you will never become that. And you've internalized that aspect. So even now at this time, I want you to write one thing down. So you have that one belief, that one negative belief, but I want you to write that one thing now that somebody has said to you that still affects you today. I want you to write down that one thing. And if you want to share it, you can. If you don't feel to share it, that's fine. But that one thing that affects you today, that one thing that has been said to you, that negative thing that has been said to you that affects you today. Because today is all about getting unstuck. If we want to move from being the boss lady who's achieved so much to being the God's lady, we got to deal with the issues. We got to deal with the things that hold us back. We got to deal with the things that make us actually feel stuck. Because feeling unfulfilled, like there is more, is actually the things on the inside stirring up in the realm of the spirit that are actually wrong and the things that aren't happening that are actually signaling to you, you need to fix this and fix this fast so that you can feel better. So there are things that sometimes they're just there, they're just being activated, but you haven't identified them because you haven't done this exercise. So what is one thing that have been said to you that you can say affects you today? And I want one person to share that so that we can just have one example. Okay, so I don't see anybody sharing, but I'm going to share something that someone shared with me in the past. And I shared this recently in my group coaching session. I remember her saying to me, she had a teacher, and this teacher didn't like her. And the teacher said to her, you are just created to dance. You're good for nothing else but dancing. And she's a wonderful prophetic dancer. But the teacher said to her, you're made for nothing else but dancing. How has that affected her in her life? Not being able to move past that aspect of ministry, not being able to push forward because those words fashioned a mindset, fashioned some thoughts, and fashioned an image about who she is or who she was or who she is today that limits her from even seeing herself beyond just being that dancer, which is a wonderful thing. But that statement wasn't said to her to edify her, but it was said to her to imprison her and make her feel as if there was nothing good or nothing else in her beside that one thing. So what is it that has been said to you or about you today that is still interfering with your life and your journey, even though you've accomplished much? Do you know that as you deal with that thing, as you become healed and overcome that thing, that there is a greater level of confidence and a greater level of revelation of your purpose that is going to be revealed unto you? Sometimes we limit ourselves by not doing the discovery and doing the necessary healing to become the great woman, God's lady that we are created to be. So that's the first step. Getting unstuck, dealing with the limiting beliefs, dealing with the one belief that keeps us stuck, and dealing with the words that have been spoken to us, and putting faith into action. And we're going to transition now into step 2. Step 2, so before we get there, so one of the things that I want you to do today is replace these negative things with scripture-based truths. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Somebody put that on the screen already. I am more than a conqueror. Somebody put that on the screen already. God has not given me a spirit of fear. God has not given me a spirit of fear. So let's get Let's go back a bit. Let's get unstuck now. And before we move on, there's some things that we need to do, some things that we need to say, some prayers that we need to begin to pray. Lord, Father, in the name of Jesus, I surrender every lie I've believed about myself. I receive your truth and I take this next step by faith. It is time for us to begin to hammer the issues that have kept us down. Hammer the things that people have said. Hammer the things that keep us stuck. Hammer the things that keep us in one place from moving beyond the great academic success, the great professional success. Hammer these things that actually will cause us to expose the real you. So the real you is that woman that has overcome those negative thoughts. The real you is that woman who has accomplished all these great things, but yet she's not afraid to be vulnerable in front of others. That real you is the woman who has the titles, who is the CPA, who is the lawyer, who is the doctor, but she has unraveled, she has dug deep inside. She has allowed God to perform a surgery on her, to open her up and show her the areas of her life that still have her stuck. The things, the inability to look and give eye contact with others, the ability to stand and introduce herself to others confidently, the inability to hold, to shake someone's hand and greet and meet someone, to go to even a man and say, hi, what's your name? What are you doing? What is the job that you do? That man that she's able to confidently introduce herself to, because she's overcome the rape, she's overcome the abuse, she's overcome the negative words. These are the things we have to deal with if we want to be great, if we want to move from being boss lady to God's lady, because God allowed those negative things. God allowed those evil things to take place in our lives. God allowed us to make those errors. God allowed us to go where we shouldn't go so that we can, out of that negative place, build up and identify the reason for it, the purpose behind it, so that we become templates of power, templates of God's success, templates of the glory of God, templates of women who know what it means to accomplish, but who knows what it means to be accomplished and to impact with everything that's inside of her, not just what she's achieved at the university, not what she's just achieved in the boardroom, but what she's achieved in every single area of her life. So are you with me today? I want to see some comments, I want to see some emojis in the chat. Come on, let's keep it going. I can do all things through Christ. I see somebody saying, amen, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I'm more than a conqueror. I want to see those comments in the chat, those emojis. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So number 2, we're talking about gaining clarity on your purpose. So now that we have gone from the place of moving from unstuck, dealing with the things that keep us stuck, addressing the beliefs, addressing the mindset and the things that may be said about us. So we can't do everything in this session, but I'm giving you tips. I'm giving you the starter. I'm activating you to go to that next level. I am giving you the actual steps that you need to now start to develop on. So step 2 is to begin to gain clarity on your purpose. And what is purpose? Purpose is the reason for which you've been created. It involves the passions, the skills, the divine calling. It's not just the reason, but it's you taking advantage of every single thing that's inside of you, digging deep to see what needs to be uncovered, your passions. Some of the passions that you had from childhood, they're still not being realized because of the stuck position that you're in. Some of the passions, you don't feel that it applies to the job that you're in, the profession that you're in, but really and truly it does. Some of you are in, like Dr. Amaka, she's in the agricultural field. Somebody else might be in the energy field. Somebody else might be in the legal field. But what are some of the passions that you have? What that passion is It could actually take you on a road where you may discover that you're created to build a program for a set of people or a set of young people who represent the younger version of you, to bring them up to a place where they become the greatest version of themselves, not going through what you've gone through, not going through the mistakes that you've gone through. Maybe you're called to create a movement out of the passion that you have. Maybe you've called to create an international, global movement with the passions that you have. What about the skills? There's some skills that you've developed over time. There's some skills that have been created in you before the beginning of time. There's a calling for the poor, a calling for business people, a calling to help women, a calling to help men. All these things and so much more, they give a revelation to the purpose because you put them all together. And as you pray, as I mentioned before, you begin to see where the puzzle fits. So God doesn't waste your experiences. Your gifts are connected to your deeper why. So when purpose is unclear, we drift. We're like a ship on the sea drifting. But when it's clear, we lead so boldly. We operate with such a high level of confidence when we are clear, when we know that we've been created for this, not only created for it, but we know in this specific season, I'm supposed to be doing A, B, C. I know I'm called to D, but D is not for this season. But we are aligned with God and His timing. So purpose is the reason for which we exist, but it is not just the reason, it's the why. As I mentioned here, be connected to your greater why. It's who am I called to impact? Who am I called to influence with my purpose? Who am I called to impact? What is it that I'm really called to do? What is it? What programs? What am I called to do? And what's the strategy? How am I called to execute this purpose? How am I called to execute this movement? How am I called to execute this program? When am I called to execute it? Is it for March? Is it for April? Is it for December? Is it for 2026? And where? Is it just for my locale? Is it just for my region? Is it just for my family? Is it just for the United States? Is it for Africa? Is it for every continent? We have to ask these questions if we want to gain clarity on our purpose, because as we have here, when purpose is unclear, we drift. But when our purpose is clear, we lead boldly. And that's what I do for persons. That's what I help them do. I help them move from a place of uncertainty and from a place where there's no clarity, where they feel as if they're drifting, unfulfillment, to a place where they can lead boldly, where they feel as I've got it. I now understand. I now have the strategy. I now understand the time and the season that I'm in. Purpose is God's blueprint for your impact. If there's nothing more that you remember today, take a screenshot of this slide. Purpose is God's blueprint for your impact. When you discover and follow God's purpose and the purpose that He's placed inside of you, your actions align with His greater plan. You lead to lead with transformation. And you see that transformation not only in your life, but you see it in the lives of others. There is a confidence that is waiting for you. There is a confidence that is waiting for you to grab hold of it, because you see the issues, you see the hindrances, you see the lack, that is the lack of clarity. You see the words that have been spoken. You see the things that are happening, the way that you're not able to stand confidently, the things that you're not able to step out and do, the shaking that is still happening in your voice, the anxiety that still comes upon you. And you understand that you have to dig deeper and identify why, where, why is it happening? And then you're taking your passions, you're taking your skills, you're looking for your calling, and you're discovering that blueprint. You're becoming God's lady. So I want you now to look at these foundations of purpose. When I teach persons about discovering their purpose and when I lead them into clarity, I often pull on these various areas, which are foundations of purpose, also called stepping stones of purpose. We can call them the components of purpose, but these are areas of our lives that lead us to discovering the why, the what, the who, the where, the when, the how. So what about your childhood influences? And we talked about these things before. We mentioned this before. You know, foundations of purpose discovery, purpose is a journey, not an event. Just as a light bulb needs components to work, your purpose is shaped by God, your past, your passions, your experiences. So your childhood influences, your passions and your interests. What is it that energizes you that you haven't developed? What is it that you've been through? There's a client that I've experienced before. She's working in a Fortune 500 company, but yet she still feels like something is missing. This woman, she's been through teen pregnancy. She's also gone through divorce, and these are things that she's never dealt with. The shame of teenage pregnancy, the shame now of divorce, they all have become muzzles. And she knows that in the midst of becoming this woman that is at the top of the ladder in this Fortune 500 company in the USA, she knows that if I don't deal with this shame, I cannot write the book that continuously hits me every night. I cannot speak to the girls that I know that I'm called to speak to, those teen mothers that I know that I'm called to speak to, that I can show them how I overcame. If I don't overcome this shame, that's why she needed help, to overcome the shame, to overcome the stuck feeling, to overcome that thing that muzzled her mouth, the shame, the divorce, the words of her husband. And this is often, I've been through it. And it's some of you, you've been through it, might have been through it, or it may come. And you will have the strategy because you know the foundations that lead to purpose. You will know that you have to deal and address your foundational areas, overcome some things, identify some things, gain some revelation, and discover. So what about your passions and your interests? We talked about those, but there's some natural gifts, the ability to speak, the ability to plan, the ability to just bring unity in sessions. You have these gifts, but you're not able to fully, some of you don't even have to work with others, but yet you've been created to impact lives. It's just you and the computer, you remotely every day, you and the computer and the emails and the Teams and the Microsoft Teams and Zoom. It's just you and that. But you really are created to do so much more because of the natural gift to just pull things together, the skills that are in you to plan and to create events. Why aren't you creating your own summit every year? Why aren't you pulling together speakers from around the world and creating your annual summit? Why aren't you doing the things that you are actually crafted naturally? No education gave you it. No parent gave you it, but it was woven into your spirit, woven deep into you. And their experiences, your education, your professional experiences, that you gain so much from these over the years, the issues that you go through in the workplace, the things that you've had to overcome, the troubles and the challenges that you've seen. These are all things that become templates that are used in your that God uses with his ladies to impact and to bring about change and to also help you execute who you are in these times. So Lafayette is saying, I am already, by God's grace, in alignment with my primary purpose in this space and time. And that is wonderful. God bless you. I want you now to just, at this moment, before we move on, I want you to just say a little bit about what you're feeling so far, what you've experienced, some of the thoughts that as I have shared, as I have released this information to you so far. We've jumped into this 1 hour so far, and I want you to share with everybody what you have experienced. What are some of the things that are coming to your mind? What are some of the things that you are seeing at this moment that would really take you, or really will take you to the next level of becoming God's lady? So I'm just going to give you 2 minutes to do that while I share the live on LinkedIn. So just go ahead, please tell us, what are some of the things that you're thinking at this point? And what are some of the things that you're going to do? What are some of the steps that you're going to make? What are some of the transformations that will shift you in this season? So you can go ahead and share. I'm looking forward to that. If you're still thinking or not sure, just tell me in the chat you're just thinking, and I can move on as well. But I want you to tell me, what are some of these things that you are experiencing at this time? I'm thinking about what energizes me, but can't get hold of anything. And that's why it's important. What I take clients through, what energizes you, or to identify it, is something very, very simple. I'm going to give away a strategy right now. You just tell your life story. You begin to write out your life story. You begin to share with yourself on paper, however you want to share it. But as you share what from beginning to end, what you've been through, you begin to identify. Your memory goes back to some of the things that you love to do or that you loved to do. Some of the things that actually are cues. Me, myself, here in the Caribbean, at our primary schools, on the outside of our public primary schools, we have people that sell, and they sell with kind of like how you see it in the market. They sell with trays. So they have all the snacks in the trays and everything. And seeing that energized me, seeing it, just seeing that, the transacting of business, like taking money, all of that excited me. And I often would go home as a small child, playing with my imaginary cash register, making transactions. So my desire to have my own boutiques, my desire to do business as an entrepreneur, I've realized that I've seen that passion because it's built inside of me. So I've never untapped. I've never left it untapped. I've always gone after business opportunities, always transacting, always looking to learn more about business because it was inside of me from a child. I would always be creating stores, creating shops as a child. And I've done that same thing in the natural. So as we begin to write our childhood story, we begin to see things that we didn't even remember because we set our minds back on that. And because we set our minds back on it, God begins to reveal and He begins to quicken our minds. He begins to show us things. Somebody says, I am learning to trust God more when He speaks to me. I need to stop processing His messages to me with my intellect. And that's so true. When we process so much, we actually hinder ourselves and stop ourselves from moving forward. And we actually stop ourselves from going where we're supposed to go. Somebody's saying, I can feel an awakening in my spirit to move with God for all He has all He has planned for me in this season and for my life. And somebody says, I'm thinking about my natural gifts and talents to share with the world with no more limitations, thinking I need to spend more time seeking Him about the details. And that is so, so important. So we move here now. So I want you to think about writing your personal statement and your mission statement. That's going to be in your book, in your blueprint as well. This is the blueprint. It's in there as well, and you can go through this personally. But as I said before, I take people through this process. But you come to a point after you actually have discovered and uncovered, based on the cues that we mentioned, based on the stepping stones and the foundations of purpose, you begin to be able to write, I am called to, using my whatever skills, to impact. And what's the impact? You put it there. So who are you called to help? What skills or tools or service are you called to use? And what outcome does God want through your life? So if you're not able to make this statement and do your personal mission or your personal purpose statement today, it's something that you need to aspire to do at least within the next month. Be able to write your own mission statement. I am called to do ABC because this is my purpose. I'm called to do ABC, using my service, using my skill, using my gift to transform women who have gone through abuse, bring them to a place of walking whole, healed, and delivered to become the greatest version of themselves. So whatever it is that God has created you to do within the next month, within the next 2 months, do not let the second quarter of 2025 pass you unless you've been able to discover and write this personal purpose mission statement that will shift your life and the way that you walk and the things that you do. So after you discover your purpose, you lead boldly. We talked about this before. You actually lead more bold. You actually are more bold to lead with faith and character. So true confidence is really knowing that you're assigned to do ABC, not just qualified. So confidence isn't being loud. It isn't loud. It's anchored. Anchored in what? It's anchored in purpose. Integrity sustains what charisma attracts. And imposter syndrome fades when identity is secure. So when you know you've identified yourself, yes, as a child of God, but you've also identified yourself as called to do this for who, by doing what? And you are confident because you know, I've been created for this. This is what God is saying. I don't have to question myself. This is what he's showing me from childhood. When I start to look back at my story, this is what he was saying to me from the beginning of time because it was etched inside of me. It was crafted inside of me. It was woven as part of me. And why am I not doing it? Why am I still afraid to step out and do it? So you lead boldly when you get the revelation. You lead boldly with the faith and character with the revelation. And the imposter syndrome is destroyed. So confidence isn't loud. It's simply anchored. So where have you been leading out of pressure? I want you to ask yourself this. Where have you been leading out of pressure instead of purpose? So now let's reinforce who we really are. And I want you to unmute your mic at this time. I want you to unmute your mic. And I want us to affirm and to repeat some of these things. We want to affirm, where have you been leading out of pressure instead of purpose? I want you to think about that. But let's begin to say, unmute your mics. I am chosen. I'm called to lead with purpose. I don't shrink back. So I want all of you to unmute at this time so we get these words going, we get these affirmations and these decrees going. So let's start. I am chosen.
I am chosen.
Yes.
I am called to
I
lead
am
with
called to
purpose.
lead with purpose.
I don't
I
shrink
don't shrink
back.
back. I rise up. I steward
Steward
influence
influence
with
with
integrity.
integrity.
I want you to repeat these four again. Let's go. I am
chosen.
I am called to lead
I'm
with
chosen.
purpose.
I'm called to lead with
I
purpose.
don't
I
shrink
don't
back.
shrink
I
back.
rise up.
I rise
I
up.
steward
Steward
influence with
influence with
integrity.
integrity.
Yes, I am created for
I am sure to lead
this.
with purpose.
Amen. Amen. You can mute your mics now. What a wonderful, wonderful declaration. So now let's reinforce. As we reinforce who we are, I of course, we want to choose one area this week that we will lead with integrity. Just one area in our lives. I want you to determine, this week I'm going to lead with integrity in this area of my life. And I want you to pick that area of your life that you're going to lead with integrity, and you're going to lead with greater power. You're going to lead with greater confidence. Is it that you know you're leading a group of people and God is asking you to do something specific, but because you don't think you have it within you, you're going to do it this week? Somebody says, I am thinking about my natural gifts and talents to share with the world with no limitations. Thinking I need to spend more time in seeking God. I have lots of skills. It's confusing. Which one is it? And which one is it? As you go through that life story, there is so much revelation that comes as you look at how God has connected your child into your teen years, into your youth years, into your young years, adults, and so on. You begin to see common trends that show you how you can implement these skills. Because what I do help people with is that I show you how to mesh your skills with your talents, with your passions, and right in the middle, it's your purpose. So it's all about discovery, uncovering, digging deep, uncovering. And as you dig deep and uncover a lot, and you begin to write your skills. So if you go through the blueprint, which you are supposed to download, Tolu, if it's possible, can you put the link once again in the chat? If you download this blueprint, it allows you to start this process where you can begin to write down these skills, write down these abilities. And remember, as you begin to pray, you will get the revelation that's needed. So let's move on right now. But when we talk about leading with confidence, we talk about exploring Purpose-oriented leadership is something that I want you to be focused on today. Purpose-oriented leadership, it means that in whatever position that you're in, it is crafted by the purpose you've been created. Purpose is the beginning, Leadership is the end point. So leadership is crafted by purpose. Purpose is the beginning. Leadership is the end point. So, for instance, you've been created, for example, you've been created to lead women or lead students to become the greatest versions of themselves, or to impact the generations that they've been created to impact, through like Amaka, I think Dr. Amaka and somebody else does, teaching them how to choose universities, get scholarships, and so on. But in the midst of you doing that, that's tied to a deeper purpose of helping them to go where God is sending them. And as they go where God is sending them, they impact the lives that God is sending them to. So as they are being ushered to the right universities, they must be able to understand purpose, because whatever they gain in that university, whatever opportunities they get in those universities, must line up with the purpose that they've been created for. So perhaps there's some seminars, and maybe I am not sure what Dr. Amaka does in her academy, but in an individual like her, if any of you are also doing something like that, you are the other aspects of who you are, building them up to be men and women of purpose that will impact the generations in the geographical locations that God is sending them into to study. It helps them to start putting their mind, what's my calling in this geographical location? So I've moved from Barbados into Africa. I've moved from Barbados into another Caribbean island. I've moved from Africa into the US, into Canada. But what's my reason, my why, the who, the what for this region? Because there's a reason for me being in this or being put. It is not by chance, but I'm being helped to be taken and to do my studies in another location because I'm created for it. So counselors and advisors and coaches such as Dr. Amaka have such a greater call or a great call in their lives to shift generations and bring transformation because of what else is built on the inside of them. It is leadership according to purpose of God. That's what purpose-oriented leadership is. So when you discover your purpose, you could be the head of any organization. You could be leading a team of 50, a team of 100. You could be leading a region. You know that there are things inside of you that you will begin to lead differently. You're going to begin to use the skills that you've not used. When you're training others, you're going to begin to pull on examples. You're going to do it with greater confidence because you've uncovered. So God has given you to impact it is leadership according to the purpose of God, based on the mission and the vision which God has given you to impact the lives which He has assigned to you. So as long as you download your blueprint, you are going to be able to start to really analyze some of these things that make you feel so cluttered, so confused, bringing that unfulfillment to your life so you can start to clarify. And the fourth point, which is also in the blueprint on page 16, step 4, reclaiming balance and peace, finding harmony in this hustle culture. So your rhythm template is going to be faith, family, career, self-care, rest. In the midst of everything, when we discover purpose, when we discover so much, we can still come to a place of burnout on purpose. Burnout doing too much. Burnout going so far. But it's all about stopping when I need my rest, checking in with God, knowing what's for the time and the season. So we could be on purpose, doing the things that we're supposed to do. But then we begin to overdo, or we begin to overextend, and then that impacts our balance. So we're talking about reclaiming that balance and peace. So what will you say no to this week? And I want you to begin to put that in the chat. What will you begin to say no to this week that is really affecting you, really taking up a lot of your time, or maybe something that people are pushing you into that you know is not a part of your purpose. Somebody said here that they've already discovered their purpose, or they're already walking in their purpose. Perhaps there's more to discover as purpose is evolving. But what is it that's happening in your life right now that you know you need to say no? Because too many people are calling on you and you're answering too much. You're saying yes too often. So what is it that you're going to intentionally say no to this week that's going to actually free you up? Where will you give space for God? So you're going to say no to some things and give space to God so that you can step into this balance, but also step into those prayer times and those moments where you are able to say, God, I started to think about this life story. I started to look back at my childhood and I'm in tears, God. I need you to help me to overcome ABC. Or I'm seeing this part of me. I'm getting excited. How are you going to help me? So what are some of the things you're going to say no to this week? Somebody says too many activities. I'm saying no to people pleasing. Wonderful mentality and choosing myself. But sometimes the people pleasing, we over explain. We try to over everything, and we just give so much of ourselves and so much energy. So we want to stop pleasing people and please God. And where does people pleasing come from? When we go back to our childhood, we will see sometimes the words that were spoken by our parents or our siblings. We always needed to please our grandmother. We always wanted to please this because that person raised us. We always wanted to do something to make them laugh, to make them feel good, to make them please. We didn't ever wanted them to get angry because we know when getting them angry, what that meant. So everything we see, and when we encounter people, we see them getting angry before something is being done. So we start to over explain, overdo, to please them, and it's not necessary. Or we start to do things and act in certain ways to please a perceived need that really isn't there, but because it's built inside of us. So it's all about undoing the web, unweaving the web that is created inside of us so that we can move from that place of achieving to just being such the great woman, God's woman that he has created. Too many activities and putting myself under too much pressure. And why do we put ourselves under too much pressure? Here in the Caribbean, we have at age 11, we have an exam that we do, which causes us to, when we finish that exam, it tells us it gives us a mark, and then we go into a specific secondary school in alignment with the marks that we get, in alignment with the grade that we get. And there's so much pressure that parents put on children to do well. Yes, we want to do well, but to go to a specific school. They send them to so many lessons after school. The children are tired just for this one exam, and not realizing they're building up the children into this pressured mindset, and also to satisfy them, because really and truly, it's the parents' desire for them to go to a specific school because they didn't get to go to that specific school, or they wanted to go to that specific school. I'm going to spend time hearing more from God concerning my future, and when he calls me to focus on that thing. No to excess knowledge and junky activities. I like that. No to excess knowledge and junky activities. What are some of the things that you're going to do this week? Is it that you're going to apply a fast? What is it? So we have to begin to think about some of the things that we're going to do, some of the things that we're going to look into, so that we can become greater. Somebody says my 8 to 5 is really time consuming, and I feel God is pushing me to start walking in purpose. Yes, I recently had a client that was in her 8 to 5 for 12 years. And in her, I'm not saying this is you, but I'm going to show you how she was able to move out. I mean, she sent me that the picture of her going off party, her resignation party. I was shocked because I didn't know she would have made the move so quick. But in our purpose sessions, our purpose and impact session, I'm going to share with you later, I showed her, God revealed to me that there is a season of 12 years in her life. And everything that she shared in her story, in her life story with me, her professional story, her entrepreneurial journey that she had started, there was a common trend of 12 years. Something happened every 12 years. And now she was in her 12th year in that business, feeling so hurt, so angry, so ready to move, so unfulfilled, so knowing that there's more to me. And I did say to her, but God has revealed your 12-year seasons. And it's now for you to know if this 12 years that you are at this company is your time to move. And we did so much other. I put her on a fast. I put her on a prayer, a set of prayers. And we finished our sessions, our 4 sessions. And within a month, she sent me her purpose statement that was framed for her by her colleagues. I don't know what she went and told them, but it was framed by her colleagues at her retirement, at her resignation get-together party. And she had resigned. And she said, because of the sessions I did, I was able to walk boldly because I identified those skills, those gifts, those talents. You showed me in my business how I could monetize more aspects of my business, how I could turn that business now into so many other things like books and podcasts. And she moved, and it shocked me. It really, really shocked me because I myself am on that journey of moving out. And in having a session with a coach recently, being a coach, sometimes we need to have a coach. There's an aspect of my life that I didn't know was holding me back. An aspect of even something as simple as my father not sharing his rough childhood with me, and then his financial issues that he experienced, not sharing them with me. I didn't know that thing. I started to cry in the session. Here is the elevation coach crying. I needed to be coached as well. And that session uncovered for me the legacy that I needed now to build, the legacy of the entrepreneurial journey that my father was building that he never was able to complete completely because he was a Black man playing in a white man's field. He was never able to complete it the way that he was created to complete it. Now I see myself with the same passion, the same desires, the same fire, the same boldness as my father. But now I'm stuck in a place not being able to move out of a certain field that I am in because I didn't realize that I didn't catch the legacy aspect of my purpose. And I'm ready. My 8 to 5 is really time consuming, somebody says, and I feel God is pushing me to start walking in purpose and also teaching me to use my time effectively. I believe also that God is also refining me in this season. I pray to God about leaving this 8 to 5, and he said, no, it's not the time, but he gave me a word. How faithful you are in the little time. So I want you to balance. In this little time, you have to pass that 8 to 5 test. And when you've passed your test, then God will give you the revelation of when to move. So as you identify your purpose, so some of you might be ready to move. Some of you, like Kenya, might not be ready to move, but God is saying to stay in that place, pass the test of balance, make use of the time, because you must be at a certain level before he positions you to move out of that place or even into another 8 to 5. Prioritize personal prayer and meditation. And Mercy is saying, do more soul searching this week. So let's move on. We got to say no to some things, no to all the clutter, no to all the time consuming activities, no to what is going to take us away from really, really managing our time well and doing what we're supposed to do in that 8 to 5. And really, when we're supposed to jump, really, really working on what that jump strategy is supposed to be and actually get it done. So your voice was meant for nations. Number 5, when we talk about identifying what is holding us back, walking in purpose, walking in confidence, leading with confidence, leading as a purpose-driven leader, and also, as we just talked about, gaining that peace in our lives, you have to realize that you have a voice that is meant for nations. What has been placed inside of you, some of you might just be local. It might be just in Africa, just in the Caribbean, just in the USA. But I doubt very much that those under the sound of my voice, as this is a divine encounter, I doubt very much that you're just made for local. Because every person that's connected to me, because of the call on my life, because of how God has continues to elevate me in various areas of my life, help me to be delivered in various areas, to overcome, to pitch my brand in global spaces. I know that God is not connecting you by chance. You're not just a local leader, you're a global vessel. You're not just a local leader, boss lady transitioning today. You're a global vessel called the God's Lady. Your influence isn't pride, it's stewardship. There's an influence that God has placed inside of you, has built inside of you, created inside of you. And it's stewardship, to steward the greatness that is inside of you. There's an influence that you would have when you walk into places, when you walk into rooms, where you come on lives. It's stewarding that greatness that is inside of you. And God will stretch your platform when your heart is pure, when you're doing it for the right reasons, when you're doing it for the right reasons. Somebody says, I'm making space for divine guidance this week. Do we all have to be global? No, we don't all have to be global. We can be just operating in our current local area, our current country, our current region, our current continent. We can just be operating in our region. But sometimes God has given us a global anointing, a global message, or an international grace. And it's for you as you discover your purpose. As we discover our purpose, it's for us to identify, do I have the where? When we say the where of our purpose, where are we called to? Is it that I'm just called to my community, my family, my community? Yes, we're called to our families because, of course, we're ministers first to our family. If we're wives, if we're mothers, that's our first place of influence. But outside of that, are we called beyond the space of the region that we live in, or outside of that region? And as I said, very often, as long as you are connected to me, there is some level of a global, if it's just one thing that is part of the call that is on your life, there is a global brand that's inside of you to be uncovered. So sometimes when we answer his call for our purpose, it may be from small spaces, but the impact is limitless. It's usually not limited to those spaces. Because of technology, the message will move. Because of who we are, it will move. So let's talk about visibility, activating that visibility, going global. We know there's so many things that we can do. We can draft a post that reflects your message and your mission. You can tag me in that post. You can do your thought leadership. You can start sharing your stories. You can start going on podcasts. But we want all these visibility activities to be grounded in purpose. So just some things that you may want to start doing to really activate who you are, activate where you're going, and which platforms you want to use to build that global brand. But there's some things deep on the inside of you that could be moving, some blueprints that you need to create, some books, some journals. And I talk a lot about books because I know the legs that our brand receive when we create materials. There are some podcast tours, some people out there that are waiting for your voice to go on that podcast to begin to speak and share on what God has placed inside of you. Are you ready? If you're ready, put an emoji in the chat. Are you ready? So we want to build. The last step is building beyond you to build your legacy, build to last. Legacy is fruit that outlives you. Whatever you're doing, this purpose is not just for the moment. It's not just for the moment. It's to outlive you. You're not just called to success. You're called to multiplication. So this boss lady, she understands success, but when she transitions to become God's lady, she is looking at, I'm not just called to success. I am called to multiplication. I'm called to multiply. I'm called to impact lives and see people change. Are you ready? It's not about how much you do, but what remains after you're gone. What is it that people will think about when you're gone? Is it that message of purpose? Is it that message of elevation? Is it that message of professionalism? Is it that message of achieving all that you can achieve and moving from one level to the other? What do you want to be known as a leader? What do you want? What is it that you want to echo for you in 10 years? Legacy doesn't have to be created or only known about when you leave this earth. It starts now. What is it that you want to be known for in the next 10 years? The scripture tells us a good person, a good man, he leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So this heritage of purpose, this greatness that is inside of you 10 years, 20, 50, 100 years down the road, if God tarries, people will know you as that leader that echoes a specific thing that has not remained stagnant, that has not remained stuck, but has pursued purpose. So I want you to begin to think about that thing that you would want to be known as. So I want you to write 3 legacy goals down. What do you want to be known for? Who are you equipping or mentoring? And what message or method will outlive you? And you can share them, you don't have to, but I want you to think about these things, because these are things that will determine, as you discover your purpose, as you discover who you are, as you unravel and become unstuck, you will begin to see in the things that you will create, the strategies that you will implement, the programs, the projects, the sponsorships, the partnerships that you will get involved in, the programs, the movements that you will create. You will begin to see that there is a specific method that will outlive you. And the method that God has given to me is this SOAR blueprint. And that SOAR blueprint, I'm not explaining that in this session. I don't go through that in this session, but it's a blueprint that takes you from zero to hero, takes you from stuck to clarity, stuck to unstuck, from confusion to clarity. And it is proven. I have used it with my clients and they have been blessed. They have been blessed. So I want you to think about these 3 things for just a minute. I'm going to shut off the video for just 2 minutes, giving you the time to begin to just write your 3 goals or think about them. And in 2 minutes, I will open back up the video. Sorry about that. So I'm saying to you, the 2 minutes are up. Thank you so much for that. And as you begin to write out these things that you want to be known for and so on, you may find that as you go through your purpose journey, you may find that some of these things may actually be in alignment with who you've been actually being created to be. 2 minutes, like 2 seconds. I'm going to give you another minute. It was 12:33 here. I came back, it was 12:35. So I'm going to give you another minute to just think on these things. Or another minute and a half, rather. So as we get to 12:37, it's 12:35 now. Just go ahead and think a little bit more as you begin to activate and design your plan of influence as you go ahead. So your legacy doesn't start, as I said before, it doesn't start when you die. It starts with today's decision. Your legacy doesn't start when you die, but it starts with your decision today. So let's move right on. So tying it all together is what we want to do as we come down to a close, or we come closer to the end rather, and we come down to a place where you can ask me some questions. So tying it all together, it's all about aligning your career and your business with purposeful living. So your career and business are platforms for purpose. Just as energy powers a city, your purpose powers your career. Your purpose powers your business. Your purpose powers your profession to bring transformation, to bring impact. So we're aligning with you're aligning with your divine assignment. Your career should be a platform for God's work, not just a paycheck. So seek divine clarity, direction, and wisdom in making your decisions as it relates to your business, as it relates to your career, as it relates to your team. Spend time praying over the career, over the business, and seeking God's strategy. This next slide, it tells us that you are called to solve a problem in your industry. I think that somebody has unmuted their mic. Thank you very much. You are called to solve a specific problem in the industry or the area that you're operating in. So purpose-driven professionals, they find and solve problems. So what is the what? What is the problem you're called to solve? What gaps exist in your company, in your industry, in your community that I am called to help solve or called to help close? So when we think about gaps, when we start to go back to our childhood, when we look at our experiences, our profession, all that we've gained over the years, our skills, our abilities, our talents, we find some things, and when we analyze and research the gaps or the industries that we're called to, we can actually see the gaps that we can close because of the unique craft that is inside of us, the unique craft and the unique purpose and the unique abilities that's deep on the inside of us. And of course, find unmet needs in the field that you're in and ask, how can my skills build a solution? Somebody asked, can we go back to the next slide just for a second? Let's see, I believe that would have been the first slide. You can tell me if that's where you want to go. So we're here, and then we come here, aligning with divine assignment. So if you need to take a screenshot, please go ahead. Then we move on to the next slide. You can go ahead and take a screenshot of that. We're solving problems and filling a gap in our industry. And of course, thank you, you're most welcome. And of course, as you discover as you know you're called to a specific career, specific industry, there are unmet needs. Next, we're talking about your unique calling. Identify where you shine in your business and your work. So your career should be a reflection of your strengths, your gifts, your talents, your passions. And what you're going to do is that you're going to seek now to identify roles, business ventures, projects that align with your passion and your expertise. Taking action and innovation. You're activating your purpose in your career. So a light bulb only shines when the switch is on. So many people know their purpose, but they never act on it. So some of you that may know or have an idea, let's begin to act. Faith without works is dead. Take the bold steps, start that project, apply for the leadership role, pivot your business in a way that aligns with your purpose. And next, the glow, impact, and legacy. So expanding purpose through career and business. We want to build that legacy. So the true test of a purpose-driven career or business is in its impact. So we're asking ourselves, how can my career or my business, how can my profession improve lives? I'm at the head of this organization. I'm leading this, I'm leading that. How can I really improve the lives of these people based on what is inside of me, based on what I'm called to do? How do I now apply these gifts, these talents, these passions, these abilities to change and transform the stories of others, the trajectory of lives for others? So reflect on your legacy, and will your career or business still be making a difference in the years to come from now on? So all that we've been through, I want to share with you something that can actually change your life and get you moving on this journey like you've never moved before. There is a program that I offer. I'm not sure why my code is not coming up here, but there's a program that I offer, and it's called the Purpose and Impact Navigator. The PIN group coaching program, also known as your PIN code. And everybody needs to know their PIN code, because your PIN code is your access to your money, your access to your wealth, your access. And wealth is not only money, the access to your treasures. And this PIN code group, it's really valued at $1,000. If any of you want to jump on this program and go through this process in depth, you can jump on this program with me. It's open to any 15 persons in this program at $27. Anybody else that comes in outside, they pay the full price. But today I'm giving you, to the end of tomorrow, a special rate of $27, 27 US. And to access that, you go to bit.ly, the PIN code access. Bit.ly, capital T, the PIN, P-I-N, capital C, and capital A, the PIN code access. And you could take a scan of this page. You can take a look at it, because you've learned so much today. You have your blueprint where you can start that journey. And if you want to go on the course with me, go on this journey with me, you can take that step now and get this offer, this special offer that's made just for you guys that are in this session at $27. And I'm going to share the page so that you can see it. After today, it goes back, or after tomorrow, the end of tomorrow, it goes back to the regular price of $1,000. If you are definitely interested, and I can hold it for you in this session for a specific amount of time so that you jump on board in the group session. So I'm going to share with you the actual details of that program so that you can have a look before we get into our question and answer segment, so that it's easier for you to really have a look at what is available in that program. So here we are. So when you go to the page, it takes you to the Salar page. When you go to the link that's in the presentation, and your benefits, you gain clarity. It's an 8-week group coaching experience. 5 of those weeks are in person, and 3 of the weeks are actually recordings that you have access to. But the benefits are clarity of purpose, strategy, vision, and goal alignment, purpose, brand, and influence positioning, and faith-driven leadership growth, and more. So here is the program. You will go into the foundation. So you will actually get to share that life story. When you share it with me, I develop a set of themes. And from the prophetic vision that I have, I share with you what I am seeing. And it's your responsibility to pray on these things. There are some tools that you will get in each session, like your purpose reflection guide, your purpose discovery worksheet. There's a workbook that you get as well. There's talent, skills, and personality alignment. You have your strengths assessment, your personality profile integration. You have life-changing moments and divine coincidences. So you go through your life timeline and your synchronicity tracker. And you have your fourth session, which is busting the limiting beliefs. So we rewrite those limiting beliefs, and we go through a belief audit sheet, empowered affirmation builder, and we then clarify your purpose statement. So all of this is practical work where we come together, and we also go into our sessions, and we have our pre-recorded sessions that you get access to after your week 5, manifesting your vision board template, purpose-driven branding, how to build that brand, how to start a starter for your social media plan or your social media reactivation plan, and then of course leading with faith and influence. As long as you're on this program with me, there's one bonus session, one clarity session where I take you through your next step of your global positioning, your publishing, your leadership, whatever major project that you are about to develop out of what we've discovered. I take you through that. And the first 5 persons that have signed up I actually help you after the entire session. I help you develop your strategic plan for the next 6 months. And on this page, you will see some reviews from some of the clients. We have an architect here, an architect in Nigeria. We have an entrepreneur, author, podcast in Jamaica. And then in French Caribbean, a business tourism professional who would have done a one-on-one session with me as a purpose mapping session. And it was life transforming for her. I see all my clients now moving in the purpose that God revealed to them in these sessions. So that's the same journey that I can take you on for at a limited price for this journey. If you are indeed interested, I can extend that for a week so that you can get on that journey. And it's going to be life shifting. It's going to be elevating. It's going to take you in a realm that you've never experienced, and you're going to be able to develop and run with your global mission and your global brand that has been placed inside of you before the beginning of time, that you haven't been able to fully solidify the way that you were supposed to. So let's jump right back in. You can take access. Oh dear. You can take access to that, or have access to that. And now is the session or the time that you get the opportunity to ask any question that you would want to ask me at this time. So you can unmute your mic, of course, and you could go ahead. Or you can put out your hand and we will unmute you as we go.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. That's
Okay,
a
my
male
name
voice.
is good
Good
evening.
to
My name
have
is
you.
Idiapa.
Yes.
Okay. I'm actually reaching out from Nigeria,
Mhm.
Calabar to be precise.
Mhm.
Okay. I have a little question here to ask, and I'm someone that is multi-talented,
Mhm.
and sometimes I get confused
Mhm.
to which way to toe. You know, I'm good at broadcasting. I'm into tech. I sing, I write, and all that. So at some point, and I have this very wonderful dream of owning a university, a tech university. But sometimes I get so confused on how to get these things, on how to best them.
Yes.
I don't know how, if you have an advice for me or
Yeah.
a path I could actually toe to be able to
Mhm.
achieve these dreams, because I don't want to blame myself, because that was how I was born. I think I was just born with a lot of talents, you know.
Yes.
So I don't know how to manage this whole abilities around me, you know, putting them into one pack and then achieving something very great.
Yes. So I totally understand. Thank you so much for that question. That's a wonderful question, because, excuse me, I can totally identify with you. I sing. I'm not a broadcaster, but everybody always asks me if I am. When I do speak in that voice, everybody asks me if I am. I am an MC. I am an author. I have dreams to start a school for unprivileged women. What I help clients do to clarify these different areas and to feel less like, oh, there's so much, how do I get it done? I divide it into themes. So your themes are, you have communication, you have education, you have, I think I heard maybe authoring and podcasting. So you have an overarching purpose, how you did, which is your purpose, which comes out then in your purpose statement. So as you go through, you write down the different skills, the different abilities, the different areas, how you use them, it is then divided into themes. So Ido, if I can call you that, you
Yes.
would be, this is your purpose statement. I'm called to do this specific thing through ABCD, and this is the result that will come of it. But there are different pillars. There's the education, there's the broadcasting, there's the writing or the podcast and speaking, and there is education, building a school. If you have your purpose statement, you will see that each of these things actually line up with who you've been created to be, perhaps to bring about change. And you talked about your tech, the tech area, to bring about, let's say, the greatest version in people that are operating in the tech field. And you do that through your broadcasting, you do that through your writing, you do that through your speaking, you do that through the school that you're creating. But it's that one, not one thing, but it's that thing that you do that you can put in a statement about what you're called to do, the why, who you're called to do it for, what's the impact that you're called to see. So what God has given you now is different roads or different avenues to execute the call that is on your life, to influence the lives. So if it is that you're called to influence, so we talk a lot about identifying your target audience, your main target audience, but we do have different target audiences. So if we are called to mainly work with millennials or youth within the tech field, or looking to develop the greatness that is inside of them, or the great ideas through their tech abilities, you do that actually through all the things that you do. You're singing, perhaps you're in ministry. I'm a singer as well. That's the transformation that I bring to lives when I sing is something else. It is there. So I am called to elevate people as the elevation coach. So in my books, I elevate. That's one of my pillars, writing. In my singing, my preaching, my ministering, I elevate. In my Mission Inside Out, which is my charity, I elevate with the programs of purpose. So there is this overarching call on your life that when you identify it, everything will fall into place. You will see why you have the dream for that. You will see why you have this other dream, and it will all fall in place. Each of these projects will have perhaps a different mission statement, different vision statement because of how they're being executed. But they're being executed by this one person who has been called by God to elevate a certain people to do a certain thing. And God is using him then to do that. So I'm not elevating, I might be saying I'm not, but I am elevating people as I sing to become the greatest version of themselves, because there's an anointing in my life that when I sing, people begin to see visions. People begin to see things. I'm also a prophetic intercessor. When I have my prayer sessions at midnight and people come on, they're telling me I'm actually falling to sleep, but not falling to sleep, because then I go into visions. I'm getting revelation on what I'm supposed to do. So I've embraced every aspect of me. I could have sat back and not started those prayer sessions because I feel like, oh, this is too much. This is not part of coaching. But it really is, because it's part of me. There's a set of business women that I work with. There's a set of women that need to identify their purpose that come on these sessions. And when they come on these sessions, these prayer sessions that I do, they begin to get visions. They see revelations. They get understanding. So I have been able to clarify what I'm called to do, and then put everything that God has placed in me, every mission, in a specific block, and write it down. When you write it down, it becomes clear. You see how it connects back to the overall purpose that you've been created for. So then the clarity comes. The lots of things that you see, it actually becomes like, it's a lot, but it's not a lot, because I'm so clear on the purpose. And these are just the different roads that God is going to use, or the different avenues to execute. So am I clear? Am I helping you here?
Yes, you are. You are. I have actually gotten something from that. I think I just have to put some certain things down, because sometimes I can't even sleep in the night because my mind is running, and a whole lot of things is going. Ideas are dropping. Just left, right, center, and all that. So at some point, I just get so confused.
And it just really takes for that right person to help you put it on paper, help you see it, so that when it's put on paper, you can run with it, because it's so clear. It's so clear. All these things that keep you up at night, it's down on paper. Even if it's 10 different pillars, 10 different categories, 10 different themes, you know for sure that you have them identified, and now you're seeking clarity for time and season for execution. So you bring yourself now into a space of, okay, God, I know you have all this in me. I'm so excited. But now I have to train myself to be quiet and to focus on what's for this season. He might tell you, well, start to register the name of the university. Do this, do that. Begin to
Have that
change.
already.
Right. So he might tell you, okay, you've done that. Do something else. But it's time and season, and having it clearly in front of you, what you're called to, and seeing that they're just avenues for Ido to execute that elevation that's inside of him in the lives of others. And that brings clarity.
Thank you very much.
Yes, because you know you're in the
Thank you very
elevator.
much.
I'm an elevator. You're a transformer, life shifter, whatever you want to call yourself. But you know, these things that you're being called to do is actually shifting lives. So wherever you go and you speak, you can bring these examples in because you're shifting lives, changing lives. So you're most welcome. Please extend for a week. Somebody says, I really want to be part of this. No problem at all. I can extend for you guys that want to come on board to the end of this 29th, but the 29th, the end of 11:59 p.m. on next Saturday. I'm going to shut down that link. So make sure that you have the link. So
Hi,
that
Dr.
you don't miss it.
Vicky. I was just trying to sign up, but I'm not getting through.
Because you're from the Caribbean, right?
Maybe it's in restricted country.
Yes. So I'll share a separate link with you. Sometimes it works for me. Sometimes it doesn't. So I'll share a separate link for you. So the first 5 people, they get a special session with me, and there's a special gift for the first 2 people that came on this live. I didn't say it before, which were Dr. Amaka and Ibionke, if you're still on, and of course Tolu Lope. First 3 people that were on. There's a special gift for you, a special 45-minute coaching session with me, where you can just talk about where you are and how you can take your brand to the next level globally, and how you can reposition to the next level. So we have EB, I'm going to repeat that again, Dr. Amaka, Tolu Lope, and Ibionke, I think it is. So I want you to reach out to me. I'm going to look for your emails as well and reach out to you. If you are not on WhatsApp or don't have me on WhatsApp, I'm going to reach out to you via email and you can communicate with me. So congrats. Any other questions? I think I had some. Go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Vicky. Thanks again for this amazing session.
You're welcome.
I'm from Trinidad, so I'm unable to proceed as well.
Yes, I'm gonna send you a link, a separate link. So that's Prudence and Dean. I'm going to share. Yes, so I'm going to share
And
that.
I also wanted to know when would it be starting? Like what are the hours and
yes. So we have here.
I think it was that.
So we begin at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. our time, which is 4 p.m. Nigerian time, and 3 p.m. Ghanaian time if you're from Ghana. But it begins 11 a.m. our time here in the Caribbean. And the sessions, let me go back to the screen. The sessions begin from May, the first week in May, which is May the 3rd. So you have the whole of April to prepare, and they begin on May the 3rd. The first Saturday.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So the sessions go differently. The first session is on the Saturday. The second Saturday you have off because you have an exercise to complete. You then have the 17th, 24th, and 31st of May in session, and the next week. And then those last 3 sessions, you have recorded videos to go through, exercises to complete. So you have a full 2 months to complete everything and to take your time and discover the purpose. And also at the end to have your one-on-ones with me so that I can actually go through your workbook, go through everything that you've completed. And over that time, you'll be sending stuff to me so that I can begin to develop the themes that I'm seeing and offer you strategies on how to go about your purpose, on how to begin to execute.
Okay.
You're welcome. I don't have funds yet, but I have faith will provide before Saturday. Wonderful. I believe that as well. I don't know who you are because it still says my name. But I look forward to that. So, any other questions? So the people like Prudence and Dean, I'm
I
going to
have a
send you
question, please.
go ahead, a separate email.
For me, it seems as if, okay, so I am a coach. I'm an author as well,
Mhm,
and I've been playing small, right? Doubting myself on so many things. I remember somebody telling me, like, Prudence, you have so much within you, and you're so capable, but yet you keep playing small, and God is telling you to cast your net.
mhm,
But what I wanted to find out is, to me, I know what I want, and I've been seeing, where God is showing me where He wants me to be. Um, but I think I'm entering into a season of change.
mhm,
So you see, when you ask that question, you know that you're supposed to do more in my 9 to 5. Um, I also know that I need to, because I feel annoyed at everything, and then I feel as if I'm plateauing.
mhm,
I feel as if I'm not being challenged anymore. Would this program also help me with that kind of changing season? I don't know if I'm articulating it correctly,
mhm,
but I'm feeling as if I'm shedding,
mhm,
and God is calling me to do something more.
mhm, mhm. Yes, I totally understand. There is a point that you get to where you plateau or where you feel that you're plateauing. And at that stage is where you need to identify what's where he wants to take you next. So I know someone that they receive a prophetic word where they worked for 19 years in a specific field and they're not like moving from that same position that they've been in for so many years. And they were told that you're actually on a plateau. That person is, even though they don't want to be, they want promotion, they can't move because they don't have the drive to, or the faith or the lack of fear to step out of into something new. So when God is showing you something new, and when he shows you the abilities inside of you, the different businesses inside of you. So part of what I do is I show you the monetization opportunities inside of you. There are other things inside
Yeah,
of you that you need to begin to monetize. You need to begin to
yeah,
see that they're there. And the only way you see that they're there is when you dig deep and start that
yeah,
discovery process.
yeah. Because, like, even within recent times, God, I'm just getting the urge to, like, start my YouTube channel,
Mm-hmm.
you know, come out more, and be on platforms where I could share my story. And but yet sometimes I just feel as if, is that enough?
The question isn't if it's enough. It's the question is it what God wants me to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because you are enough for him. All that you have in you is enough. But if you're linking that then to is it enough to give me the money that I need, it's a different story. I don't know if that's the
Okay.
enough you're talking about, but is it, even if it doesn't give you the money that you're looking for, is it what God wants for you in that season? How are you
Yeah.
monetizing the books that you currently have? Have you built programs around them, courses around them? Have you taken them and built speaking engagements around them? Have you built your speaker brand where your signature talks are based on those specific themes that are coming out in your book? Have you even gotten on social media and begin to speak on those books and the themes that are in those books? Have you shared those books with different groupings? Me, for instance, one of my books I sent to prisons all around the USA, UK, and USA and UK, yeah. I use that. That's my own money, my own Mission Inside Out nonprofit money, but it's something that God has called me to do. But perhaps there is an audience. There is, why haven't you sent, or one of the things that you should do if you're not doing it, I shouldn't say why haven't you, but if you aren't doing this, there are conferences out there with the audience that you are called to impact. Why aren't
Mm-hmm.
you connecting with the organizers on LinkedIn, organizers on Facebook, wherever they are, but find them wherever they are positioning
Okay.
yourself to become a speaker, and giving or positioning your book as a desk gift. Okay, you might not be able, might not be able to give as a sponsor, but somebody may sponsor the books, or it might be a case that they buy the books as part of the package for their attendees. So there are a lot of things that come to our minds, but we don't do them because we don't think that they will work out. But everything that I've done, everything that I've achieved so far, God has every door that He has opened, it really has been me reaching out to people. I've been featured on
Right.
one of the blueprints that you can have access to, which I have on my LinkedIn. I don't have it in as the toolkit in this Boss Lady blueprint, but one of the things that I've done, it was featured. I think it was 16 newspapers across Africa within, was it 6 weeks or something like that? And that just happened. I am here in Barbados. I didn't pay a cent. I just know that I carry this message. I have this ability. I have this service in terms of market development, brand expansion, and so on, in terms of trading between Africa and the Caribbean. I know that this is what God has called me to. And I've pitched my stories to media houses across Africa, and they have all accepted. Maybe a few haven't accepted. They're still accepting. I've just written some articles that I will share today on the topic of what is the shift that women must now take on to move from being boss lady to God's lady. The Star Kenya asked me to come on as a writer, so I write for them. And my articles are in there, the Independent Zimbabwe. My article is in Afrique Press, if that's how you pronounce it. It's from in Cote d'Ivoire, which is what do you call that in English? The Africans would know. Please tell me.
Ivory Coast.
Ivory
Ivory
Coast.
Coast.
Yes, so I'm
Yeah.
writing for Ivory Coast as well. They always accept a top newspaper. They always accept my articles, and it goes into print. It goes into the online. I reached out to my very beautiful colleague on LinkedIn, who is a television anchor, and she told me she's not able to come to the event, but she will take the story and she will share it on her online platform for the TV station. And I met all of these people I met on LinkedIn. I used it to my advantage to build partnerships and to build linkages with people in different fields. Now I'm working on a project with the Arab Woman, and working with major brands in the Arab world, which is totally outside of my comfort zone, but it's an area and call to influence women, call to encourage women, and God is opening doors there as well. So it's just a matter of us stepping out of our comfort zones and really taking what we have, and what I'm working and moving with what we have. So I hope that's answered your questions. Any other questions? I think we've
Thank
gone
you.
past our 2-hour mark, but still, any other questions? If not, we can close for today. I'm just going to share my screen again so that you can see this link. I am asking you, if you can, to please send a review. Please let me know how this has impacted your life, how if there's any change at all. And it just has about 4 or 5 questions, very simple. You can scan the screen, or you can simply go to bit.ly/tell Dr. Vicky. I'm not sure why it shows as a broken link, but you can go to bit.ly/tell Dr. Vicky. And I just want you to tell me how this has influenced you. It's been a pleasure being here. It's been a pleasure. I pray that you've been blessed, that your life has been changed, that you've started thinking about how you can move from boss lady to God's lady without fear, and step into that next level, step into that next place to become the greatest version of yourself. So ladies, and I don't know how many gentlemen are on, but ladies and gentlemen that is here, it's been a pleasure. God bless you. And please feel free to book a session with me at any time. Please feel free to link with me. Please drop your links one more time before you go, LinkedIn links and so on. And I'll definitely go through each of them and connect with you. So God bless you and do have a wonderful day. So you can drop your links before you move. Thank you so much, Dr. Amaka. It's been a pleasure having you here. Please, I'm going to reach out to you. I'm going to reach out to Tolulope, and my third person that I wrote here is E.B. Ronke. I'm going to reach out to you, and we will have those sessions where we can just talk about, where you are, where you want to go, and some ideas. Just it's an idea session to drop some ideas on what you can do, where you can go, and how you can get it done. So God bless you, and do have a wonderful day. Don't forget to drop your links.